Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at kind of a custom whoop that I made. Mainly kind of just showing you that I do use some of the parts that come to the channel. You can see there we've got the Express LRS Beta FPV 1S board. This is the cross-shaped one there. Also in this build we've got the Caddx Ant as well as the Ishii Nano VTX, some Z props, which are nice and smooth props. If you're not familiar with them, they're from Newbie Drone. For those that are interested, I'll put the build parts down at the bottom and a few links, but you may need to use your Google Foo in order to find them from the vendor that you're looking for, because otherwise it would just be a huge long list of links. And probably one of the bigger features are these tiny whoop motors, the 0802 22,000 kV motors from tinywhoop.com. And I haven't done this much, but oftentimes I get parts and I'll show them to you on the channel, and it takes me quite a while to kind of get around to actually using those parts. So I tend to do it that way because otherwise it's not really relevant anymore. And I do use the parts that come to the channel. It just takes me a long time. And this is kind of just a proof of concept on that. I have a lot of builds kind of sitting on the shelves over here of the parts that have come to the channel, and I fly them around. And I do that for various reasons. One is to gain more experience with those components, so I can not just get the reports that I get from the comment section or things that I might be getting through Facebook messengers or email or things like that on other people's experience, but I also have my own experience with those components as well. Of course, in this case, we did fly this board on 2 Beta FPV ready to fly quads or bind and fly quads. So this would be the third time I've used this particular board. The main thing that I think you have to be careful of is your canopy and your mounting with that Express LRS cube antenna right up front. We've got to get our canopy up above that, and as you can see with mine, it is just a touch above that little turning point in my canopy. One of the other key components of this build is I used extra long screws in my canopy mounting, and the reason why I use those extra long screws is to basically keep those posts from snapping. They shouldn't be moving all that much with those extra long screws. They don't go through all the way to the bottom. They're just the longest screws I could find that I could thread down through there. You know, they need to be thin. They need to be threaded. They don't want to be like a bolt. You want it to be a screw. And that will keep the post in good shape, so when you crash more, you'll be less likely to get any flex and therefore hurt that cube antenna or knock it loose, or even, just as I already mentioned, sever a post or knock a post loose. I think once the post is more rigid with that long screw in there, it's less likely to separate at the base because it doesn't flex all that much in all our individual crashes. So I've been flying this around, and I decided one day I should get out my audio camera so I can put together a little video, and then I could just show you. Keep an eagle eye out. We're going to see a crash right off the bat here 12 seconds in. So we're going to make a lap around the house, kind of my steady Eddie sort of thing, get the feel for things, but I'm going to come around this lamp and boink, just cut it short. A little too quick on the yaw action there. But we got our handy dandy turtle mode. We didn't used to always have turtle mode. It used to be we had to do the walk of shame every time we crashed, but thankfully Betaflight came out with turtle mode a few years ago. Somebody else may have beat Betaflight 2 turtle mode, but I can't recall that for certain. It could have been that KISS or Flight 1 maybe had done it first. But when it came to micros and more widely accepted turtle mode, I think most of us think of Betaflight, but I won't give Betaflight all the credit for coming up with that first. And this is just a proof of concept. As I said, this is on a 450 milliamp battery. I am using the GNB27 connector, which some people have had some difficulty with. I have experienced it as well, as far as the connector making a solid connection. Sometimes it's on the battery side, and sometimes it's on the quad side. So we have to change out those connectors until we find a good one. And that is something that I think is going to hold back the GNB27 from being widely accepted, especially when it comes to bind and flies. If a manufacturer uses that connector and then customers have problems with the connector not being reliable, that doesn't bode well for it. So we've got to get that mold to where that's steady and those pins are always in the right spot to where those connectors can become ultra solid. It could be that I'm using an older batch, because I did, when the GNB27 connector came out, I did buy, I think it was 2 sets of 10, and I do know that many people experience the same sort of thing on GNB connectors early on, but I'm not certain if that continues today with current batches or not. But as part of this is sharing my experience with it. This isn't necessarily well tuned, So I guess if you want the CLI dump, I can put it down there. I get asked for PIDs all the time on all sorts of quads. Camera rig testing quads that are custom builds or that are really old. And I almost have to talk people out of it. And I don't like doing that because it seems kind of mean or nasty. But it just won't do you any good to use one of my custom tunes. In this case, maybe because it's not all that well tuned, maybe it'll be better than what you've got. So I'll put it down there. You can use the PID section of the CLI dump, slap it on your whoop and see what you get. Of course, if you're not at this weight, which I don't think I mentioned, it's 25 grams, almost 25 grams flat. But if you're not at this weight with these props, with this sort of 75 millimeter configuration with these motors, probably won't work great. I do see a lot of people asking about Express LRS and these boards running Emu Flight. That's just not possible just yet, I don't believe. I haven't tried it myself, but last I heard on the development side that there needed to have another iteration of Emu Flight to incorporate Express LRS. Correct me down in the comment section if I'm wrong on that, if I'm just not following Emu Flight developments closely enough. But I've seen a number of posts on Facebook about Emu Flight and these Express LRS boards and them not being quite ready yet. So I presume that's the case. Don't take my word for it as gold. Make sure you go down in the comment section and see if other people confirm that or if I'm just telling tales out of school. This flight, as I said, is going to be about 3.5 minutes. A good many of the flights come in around that. You'll see here when I land that I could have flown approximately another 15 to 20 seconds on this because the battery does come back up above 3.6 volts per cell. So I have a little bit of battery left over that I could have used. This very well could be my last video before Christmas, so I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to those that don't celebrate Christmas. I hope you all get a moment to enjoy some time with family and friends and others that you hold dear and close to you, and get to enjoy the holiday season and maybe regenerate yourself a little bit to energize for the remainder of the year before we turn over into 2022, where we can all kind of hope that 2022 goes better than kind of the last 2 years. But I just wanted to take that moment to wish you all happy holidays, Merry Christmas. If you do have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise about this little quad, yeah, go down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you might have. Let me know if I need to do more of these proof of concept builds that I do with parts that come to the channel. They, most of the time, end up going away in giveaways eventually. I did think about doing another giveaway before Christmas, but then the thought occurred to me I might need some of my boxes for the Christmas presents that I have to wrap. Yep, I wrap all the presents here in our household. So I held on to those. But as we get into post-Christmas, post-holiday, probably have another giveaway coming up. I'll try to gather up some of those boxes as presents are opened and save those to be able to ship quads like this off to you. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.